It happened yesterday, right before our eyes. A solid object from beyond our solar system, already mysterious, already puzzling scientists, suddenly divided in two, and one fragment is now on a direct path toward the Moon, July 15th, 2025. The Atlas telescope in Hawaii spotted a faint dot moving through the stars. At first it seemed insignificant, just another asteroid, another piece of cosmic debris drifting through space, logged, filed, and forgotten. But this dot wasn't behaving like anything we'd seen before. Too bright, too fast, too steady. By August, astronomers worldwide were tracking it, trying to make sense of the anomaly. Every observation deepened the mystery. Then came September 18th, 11:47 a.m. Hubble snapped a routine photo, and the impossible unfolded. The single object split. Not randomly, not explosively, but with clean mechanical precision. Where there had been one, there were now two separate craft. The smaller fragment, roughly the size of a stadium, was already maneuvering toward the Moon. Its trajectory wasn't chaotic. It wasn't a natural tumble through space. It was deliberate, controlled, engineered. Every scientist watching that live feed froze. Because in that moment, reality changed. What we thought was a harmless interstellar visitor was revealed to be something else entirely. Something designed, something intelligent. And humanity realized, too late to stop it, that we were no longer alone in our cosmic backyard. One object was approaching the Moon. The other was watching us. If you want to stay on the edge of your seat as we track 3i/ATLAS's next move, hit that like button and subscribe now. You won't want to miss a single update. This isn't science fiction. This isn't a hypothetical scenario. This is happening now. And over the next 2 weeks, what 3i/ATLASB does on the Moon could change everything we thought we knew about our place in the solar system. The separation took exactly 4 hours and 12 minutes. Not the violent explosion you'd expect from a comet breaking apart, not the chaotic fragmentation of an asteroid hitting debris. This was controlled, deliberate, and absolutely impossible for any natural object. The split looked clean, as if the two pieces had been built to separate all along, like a capsule detaching from a rocket or a flower opening its petals. But this flower was the size of 6 city blocks, and it was blooming in the vacuum of space. High-resolution images revealed the truth that shattered every assumption about what we were watching. 3i/ATLAS had seams, geometric lines running along its surface in patterns too perfect to be cracks, too organized to be natural features. When the separation began, these invisible joints became visible gaps that widened with mechanical precision. It was like watching a massive puzzle box solve itself, revealing that what looked like solid rock was actually an intricate machine designed to come apart when the time was right. The interface was perfect, one imaging specialist said later, his hands still shaking. No rough edges, no debris, no signs that anything had broken. It separated along joints that had been planned from the beginning. Think about what that means. For months, we'd been studying what we thought was a natural space rock, but we were actually watching a spacecraft, one designed to look like a random asteroid until it was time to reveal its true purpose. The moment of final separation was captured in stunning detail by multiple telescopes around the world. Instead of the chaotic tumbling you'd expect from a breakup, both pieces maintained perfect orientation and immediately began broadcasting different energy signatures. 2 separate power sources came online simultaneously, as if the split had activated systems that had been sleeping during the long journey through interstellar space. The smaller fragment, quickly designated 3i/ATLASB, was about the size of a football stadium. Still massive by human standards, but small enough to maneuver with precision, and maneuver it did. Within hours, 3i/ATLASB began course corrections that proved it wasn't just a piece that had broken off. It was a separate vehicle that had been hidden inside the larger structure, waiting to be deployed. The timing was perfect. The location was optimal. The execution was flawless. This wasn't an accident. It was the implementation of a plan that had been set in motion long before we ever spotted that faint dot in our telescopes. 3I/ATLAS-B wasn't just heading toward the moon, it was flying there with precision that made our best spacecraft look like paper airplanes thrown by children. In just 6 hours after separation, it executed 17 separate course corrections. To put that in perspective, our most advanced space probes might make a handful of corrections over months of flight time. This thing was flying with the precision of a surgeon's scalpel, adjusting its path every few minutes to achieve perfect approach geometry. Each correction lasted exactly 1.3 minutes. Each one changed velocity by precise increments calculated to optimize fuel efficiency and arrival timing. No human spacecraft had ever demonstrated such sophisticated autonomous navigation. But the most disturbing part wasn't how it was flying, it was where it was going. 3I/ATLAS-B wasn't aiming for a random crash landing or simple orbital flyby. It was targeting the moon's far side, specifically the South Pole Aitken Basin, the one place on the moon permanently hidden from Earth's view. It's heading for the one place we can't see from Earth. Think about that choice. Of all the locations on the lunar surface, why pick the far side? The answer is obvious and terrifying: privacy. Whatever 3I/ATLAS-B planned to do on the moon, it didn't want Earth-based telescopes watching. The South Pole Aitken Basin isn't just hidden, it's also one of the moon's most resource-rich regions. Water ice in permanently shadowed craters, rare metals exposed by ancient impacts, natural features that could conceal installations from orbital observation. If you wanted to establish a base on the moon while avoiding detection from Earth, this is exactly where you'd go. Trajectory analysis revealed something even more unsettling. 3I/ATLAS-B wasn't planning to crash into the moon or fly past it. The navigation profile was consistent with a controlled orbital insertion, the kind of maneuver that would establish it in stable lunar orbit for extended operations. It was planning to stay. The precision eliminated any possibility of coincidence. This fragment was executing a textbook lunar insertion approach that demonstrated complete mastery of orbital mechanics, gravitational dynamics, and energy optimization. Knowledge that matched or exceeded our best mission planners. But here's what made everyone's blood run cold: the timing coordination. As 3I/ATLAS-B adjusted course for the moon, the main body of 3I/ATLAS made its own subtle course corrections to maintain perfect communication geometry with the lunar-bound fragment. They were staying in touch, coordinated, like a commander talking to its scout. Every maneuver was calculated to keep both objects in constant contact throughout the lunar approach and insertion. This wasn't just two pieces of a broken asteroid drifting apart. This was a coordinated military operation unfolding in our own cosmic backyard. At first, everyone assumed the larger object would continue on its original path after the smaller fragment separated. Just a space rock that had shed a piece, continuing its journey through the solar system like countless asteroids before it. But then something happened that changed everything. It turned, not randomly, not drifting with solar wind or gravitational influences. The main body of 3I/ATLAS deliberately adjusted its trajectory to position itself perfectly, to stay in constant contact with the smaller craft heading for the moon. Within hours of the separation, radio telescopes detected sophisticated data streams flowing between the two objects. Not simple radio signals, but complex communication protocols that made our most advanced satellite networks look primitive. They were staying in touch, sharing real-time navigation data, coordinating mission objectives across millions of kilometers of space with precision that suggested shared consciousness or artificial intelligence operating beyond human comprehension. But the coordination went deeper than communication. Analysis of the main body's new trajectory revealed something that military strategists recognized with growing dread: command and control positioning. 3I/ATLAS had positioned itself to provide continuous observation of both Earth and the Moon simultaneously. From its new orbital path, It would have unobstructed views of human activities on our planet while maintaining communication with whatever operations the fragment established in lunar space. It wasn't just a transport that had delivered a payload. It was a strategic command platform establishing oversight of the entire Earth-Moon system. Think about what that means. While everyone focused on the dramatic fragment heading for the Moon, the real threat was positioning itself as mission control for operations targeting both celestial bodies in our local neighborhood. Energy readings from both objects showed they were operating at power levels far beyond what we'd detected during their combined approach. Systems that had remained dormant during the journey through interstellar space were now fully active and running coordinated operations. The main body wasn't continuing its journey through the solar system. It was taking up residence, establishing itself as a permanent command presence in Earth-Moon space, with technology that made our best defensive capabilities look like Stone Age tools. Every course correction by the lunar fragment triggered immediate response adjustments from the main body. When 3I/ATLASB modified its approach angle, 3I/ATLAS fine-tuned its communication orientation within minutes. Perfect synchronization across impossible distances using methods that defied our understanding of physics. This was military precision, professional deployment, the implementation of a plan that had been designed long before that faint dot appeared in our telescopes. The moment governments realized what was happening, panic spread through classified facilities around the world faster than the objects themselves were moving through space. Emergency sessions convened simultaneously across multiple continents. Intelligence agencies that had been casually monitoring one unusual asteroid suddenly faced a completely different scenario. Coordinated deployment of alien technology in Earth-Moon space with no human capability to prevent or interfere. In hours, NASA, the Pentagon, the UN, all scrambled into emergency sessions. Humanity had no plan for this. No weapons, no interceptors, no way to even reach the Moon before the fragment arrived. Behind closed doors, military commanders grappled with scenarios that had never appeared in any war college textbook. How do you defend against opponents operating from lunar orbit? How do you maintain secrecy when hostile intelligence has perfect observation of your entire planet from space? Meanwhile, outside those classified briefing rooms, ordinary life continued. Amateur astronomers uploaded shaky footage to social media. Internet forums exploded with speculation and theories. Some said it was fake news, others claimed it was the beginning of an invasion. Most assumed it had to be some kind of elaborate hoax. But the footage was real, the trajectory data was undeniable, and world leaders weren't laughing. Emergency funding authorizations flooded through Congress and parliamentary systems worldwide. NASA received orders to develop intercept capabilities that everyone knew were impossible with current technology. The fastest rocket humanity had ever built would take months to reach lunar orbit, while 3I/ATLASB would arrive in days. Space Force commanders acknowledged the brutal reality: complete technological inferiority. Any theoretical conflict would be like medieval cavalry charging modern tanks. The capability gap wasn't just significant, it was civilizational. International cooperation reached levels not seen since global wars. Ancient rivalries disappeared as governments realized they faced challenges that made human conflicts seem trivial. Intelligence agencies that had spent decades spying on each other began sharing their most closely guarded secrets. But cooperation couldn't overcome physics. Humanity possessed no spacecraft capable of intercepting the lunar fragment, no weapons designed for engaging targets in space, no defensive measures adequate for opponents who had crossed interstellar distances and were deploying assets with military precision. Deep underground facilities designed for nuclear warfare were repurposed for scenarios their architects had never imagined. Command bunkers built to survive atomic bombs now hosted discussions about defending Earth from technologically superior aliens establishing operational bases throughout the local space environment. The most disturbing aspect was the helplessness. Generations of science fiction had prepared humanity for possible alien contact, but always with the assumption that we'd have some role in the interaction. The reality was different. We were observers of operations unfolding in our own neighborhood with no ability to influence or prevent whatever came next. Public information remained tightly controlled, but rumors spread through social media faster than official denials could contain them. Telescope enthusiasts shared images and coordinates. Conspiracy theories multiplied. The truth was too incredible to suppress and too dangerous to confirm. From the far side of the moon, they'd have the perfect view of Earth. Every military base, every city, every phone call bouncing off satellites. Nothing would be hidden. Let that sink in for a moment. The moon, humanity's oldest companion in the night sky, the inspiration for countless poems and songs, was about to become a surveillance platform operated by intelligence far beyond our own. 3I/ATLASB's target location wasn't chosen randomly. The South Pole Aitken Basin offered everything needed for establishing a permanent outpost: mineral resources, potential water deposits, natural features that could conceal installations from Earth-based telescopes, and most importantly, complete privacy for whatever operations they planned to establish. But privacy was only one advantage. From lunar orbit, they would have continuous, unobstructed observation of the entire Earth-facing hemisphere. Every satellite network, every military installation, every population center would be visible and trackable 24/7 from the ultimate high ground. Military strategists struggled with scenarios that had never been seriously considered. How do you maintain operational security when hostile intelligence has perfect observation of your entire planet from a position you can't reach or defend? Traditional concepts of territorial sovereignty became meaningless. When opponents control the cosmic high ground with technology centuries beyond your own, borders and national defense strategies become irrelevant curiosities. Think about your daily life for a moment. Every electronic device you use, every GPS signal your car follows, every satellite TV program you watch, all of it dependent on technology that would be completely visible and vulnerable to anyone operating from lunar positions. Research institutions began desperate crash programs to understand the technology demonstrated by both objects. If 3I/ATLASB successfully established lunar operations, studying its capabilities might provide insights for developing countermeasures or at least early warning systems. But the timeline was impossibly compressed. The fragment would reach the moon in days, while human technology development operated on cycles of years or decades. Whatever preparations were possible had to work with existing capabilities rather than waiting for breakthrough innovations that might never come. Economic implications rippled through government planning worldwide. Defense budgets were redirected towards space-based assets that might provide some observation capability. Commercial space companies received emergency contracts for rapid deployment of monitoring satellites. The psychological impact on those aware of the situation was staggering. Humanity's perception of its place in the universe had shifted from potential explorers of local space to observed subjects of intelligence operating on scales they couldn't comprehend or challenge. For decades, humanity saw the moon as a stepping stone to the stars, a natural platform for expanding human presence beyond Earth. Tonight, it feels like a chessboard, and we're already in check. The fragments approach had transformed our nearest celestial neighbor from a symbol of human aspiration into a potential staging ground for operations that could monitor, influence, or control everything happening on Earth. 11 days remaining. Less than 2 weeks for humanity to watch helplessly as technologically superior intelligence establishes what appears to be a permanent forward operating base on our closest celestial neighbor. Every hour, the object gets closer. Every hour, it makes another perfectly calculated adjustment, proving it knows exactly what it's doing. The precision never wavers, the navigation never falters, the coordination with the main body never breaks down. Deep space tracking stations monitor the approach with growing sense of inevitability. Each course correction demonstrates autonomous navigation that exceeds human spacecraft control systems by orders of magnitude. This isn't just advanced technology, it's technology that treats interplanetary travel like routine transportation. International space agencies work around the clock developing observation plans for the lunar insertion, but even surveillance presents overwhelming challenges. The fragment's target on the lunar far side means direct monitoring from Earth will be severely limited during the most critical phases of whatever operations it plans to establish. We're going to lose sight of it the moment it disappears behind the Moon, mission planners admit privately. Whatever happens during lunar insertion, we'll only know about it from secondary effects, maybe energy signatures, possibly gravitational anomalies, hopefully some kind of detectable activity that tells us what they're building. The main body of 3, I/ATLAS, continues its own operations, fine-tuning its position for optimal observation of Earth's response, while maintaining communication with the lunar-bound fragment. Every human military movement, every diplomatic communication, every technological countermeasure is likely being monitored and reported to command structures operating across interstellar distances. They're watching us watch them. Every preparation we make, every defensive measure we implement, every contingency plan we develop, all of it probably being catalogued and analyzed for response strategies we can't anticipate. Amateur astronomers worldwide point telescopes skyward, sharing observations and images that supplement official monitoring efforts. Social media fills with speculation, theories, and growing public awareness that something unprecedented is happening in Earth-Moon space, despite official attempts to maintain information control. Professional astronomers find themselves in an impossible position, conducting the most important observations in human history while being unable to share their findings with the broader scientific community due to security classifications that treat basic astronomical data as matters of national defense. The timeline feels simultaneously too short and endless. 11 days isn't nearly enough time to develop meaningful countermeasures or defensive capabilities, but it's an eternity of waiting to discover what kind of operations will begin once 3I/ATLASB disappears behind the Moon and beyond our ability to observe. Underground facilities worldwide activate protocols designed for scenarios involving long-term disruption of satellite communications, GPS systems, and orbital infrastructure. The assumption is that whatever establishes itself in lunar orbit will have both the capability and motivation to interfere with human space-based technology. Emergency food distribution systems prepare for potential disruption of global supply chains that depend on satellite navigation and communication. Financial networks implement backup systems that don't rely on orbital infrastructure. Military commands prepare for scenarios involving complete loss of space-based intelligence and communication capabilities. But perhaps most significantly, governments begin preparing populations for revelations that will fundamentally change humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. Psychological counseling resources are quietly expanded. Religious leaders receive briefings about providing guidance for existential questions that humanity has never had to confront. In 11 days, the Moon may no longer be the familiar celestial companion that has inspired human civilization throughout history. It may become the first confirmed extraterrestrial outpost in local space, operated by intelligence that crossed between stars specifically to establish operations in Earth's cosmic neighborhood. We're not counting down to a launch or a discovery or a celebration, we're counting down to an arrival. And in 11 days, our solar system officially becomes shared territory, managed by minds whose capabilities and intentions remain as mysterious as the vast darkness they emerged from. Watch the Moon, because when that fragment disappears behind its far side, we'll be watching the last moments of human exclusivity in Earth-Moon space, and the beginning of something we're not prepared to understand or control.